Once again in this week's National Reminder. Now, it was an abduction and brutal murder that shocked the country way back in June 2016. In a mysterious few days, a human rights lawyer, his client, and a taxi driver lay dead, stuffed in bags, floating in a river. It later emerged the three met their demise at the hands of police officers. The lawyer, Willie Kimani, became the symbol of enforced disappearances and extrajudicial killings that often go unresolved. On this week's National Reminder, our very own Victoria Rubadiri takes us back to the events that led to his gruesome end, and the calls for justice still persist 5 years later. Take a look.
It was on a Thursday when lawyer Willie Kimani and his client Josephat Mwendwa made what was to be a routine court appearance in Athi River town. Willie Kimani, a lawyer with the International Justice Mission, was representing Josephat Mwendwa in a case in which Mwendwa had sued an AP officer, Frederick Leliman, for attempted murder. After the proceedings, the advocate, his client, and a taxi driver left Mavoko Law Courts headed to Nairobi, but they were stopped by police on the way. That was June 23rd, 2016, the last day the three men were seen alive. Their disappearance raised suspicions after several days had passed, with civil society groups being first to raise the alarm.
This is the culmination of numerous blatant attempts to intimidate Josephat to withdraw a complaint lodged with the Independent Policing Oversight Authority against a senior administration police officer stationed at Syokimau AP camp.
The legal fraternity would pile more pressure as the Law Society of Kenya petitioned the High Court on behalf of the three men, seeking various orders from the court in the wake of their disappearance, and demanded they be produced. The following day, on the 1st of July 2016, the worst was confirmed.
The flying squad and serious crimes officers were here as part of a wider attempt to unravel the mystery behind the discovery of three bodies fished out of the nearby river earlier.
The bodies were those of Willie Kimani, Josephat Mwendwa, and Joseph Muiruri, retrieved from the River Athi at Oldonyo Sabuk. Soon after, Senior Sergeant Frederick Leliman, Corporal Stephen Chebulet, Constable Sylvia Wanjiku, and Officer Leonard Mwangi were arrested over the murders. On July 4th, 2016, lawyers across the country boycotted court proceedings and took to the streets to protest the killings.
Willie was just a young man, the age of my children. I feel as a mother and as a Kenyan, I can't hide in my living room anymore. I have to come out.
Worst kind of killer would be one who's in uniform, because they have immunity. And we cannot allow a situation like that.
Emotional send-offs marked the end of their journeys, but the quest for justice and bringing light to the vice of extrajudicial killings was only just the beginning. On December 8, 2016, the four accused police officers and police informer Peter Ngugi Kamau were jointly charged with 4 counts of murder. The murder trial would continue, with more details emerging from a confession of the police informer Peter Ngugi in an October 2019 court session. The former Boda Boda rider turned police informer would reveal how the 4 police officers from the Mlolongo Administration Police Post executed the 3.
Senior Sergeant Leleman and Kambeji would then put the bodies in sack before bringing the body back and placed in the boat.
The killings were planned in April 2016 during a meeting with the informer Peter Ngugi and Frederick Leliman, the officer accused of carrying out the killings. Ngugi was tasked with keeping an eye on Mwendwa following the case hearing at the Mavoko Law Courts and informed Leliman once he was on the move. Willie Kimani and the taxi driver were unintended targets but now victims of what would be a gruesome murder. In Ngugi's confession, the three were abducted from the courthouse and driven to the Mlolongo AP post where they were held. Ngugi then disposed of the taxi cab in Limuru and did away with the victims' mobile phones as well. It is reported that lawyer Willie Kimani, while still being held, managed to pass a note meant for his wife to a Boda Boda rider outside the station. In it, he alerted her that he was being held in Syokimau and to inform his office that he was in danger. The message would get to her too late. Shortly after, Leliman and three other officers moved the three men from the police post and allegedly executed them in a bush along Mombasa Road. Their bodies dumped into River Athi at Oldonyo Sabuk. So where does the status of the case stand 5 years later? Well, according to contacts within the High Court in Nairobi, only 2 witnesses have not taken the stand before the murder trial comes to an end. That's your national reminder of the week, lest you forget.